Welcome back to another journey through the Texas Big Bend. In this episode, we continue down the Ross Maxwell Scenic Highway towards Santa Elena Canyon. We explore Cottonwood Campground, view Cerro Castellan, and the Dorgan Sublet Ruins. Here's a great view of the Chisos Mountains and its 8 peaks: Pummel, Wright, Panther, Lost Mine, Casa Grande, Emery, Pulliam, and Vernon Bailey. Emery Peak is the highest in the Chisos Mountains. From the Chisos Basin, the peak appears to be a minor ridge, while the summit of Casa Grande seems to be much taller. Emery Peak was named for William Emery, Chief Surveyor of the U.S. Boundary Survey Team of 1852. Just ahead is Cerro Castellan. Cerro Castellan's peak reaches an elevation of 3,293 feet and rises more than 1,000 feet above the terrain below. The name Cerro Castellan seems to mean Castle Warden's Hill, though the reasons for this name's adoption are obscure. The first inhabitants of this section of the Rio Grande floodplain were American Indians, who farmed and hunted. By 1900, the area began to attract American and Mexican farmer and ranchers interested in establishing homesteads and raising families. As the rest of the United States entered the industrial age, this section of West Texas along the Rio Grande remained a frontier society. The 1910 Mexican Revolution brought unrest and danger to people on both sides of the river, as bandits and raiders invaded the area. The U.S. Army responded by commissioning permanent and temporary camps along the Rio Grande. One such post was Camp Santa Elena, located in the southwest corner of today's Big Bend National Park. Just after the Mexican Revolution ended, 2 men created a farming, ranching, and storekeeping partnership at Camp Santa Elena known as Castellan. They named their business La Harmonia Enterprises, a name they hoped would accurately reflect a continuing condition of the area, harmony between peoples. In May of 2019, the store and visitor center was destroyed by a wildfire that jumped the Rio Grande from the Mexican side. It is reported that Cottonwood Campground was not damaged, but by what we see, I beg to differ. Of course, it is possible that there could have been another wildfire after the 2019 Castellan wildfire, but I could not find any articles on another fire in this area. As we approach Cottonwood Campground, it's obvious that there was a fire at some point. Whether it was in May of 2019 or not, I guess we just won't know. But as we continue through the campground, it's evident that life does indeed go on. From the beautiful cottonwood trees on the left to this cute little vermilion flycatcher on the right, just posing on a barbed wire fence waiting for his photograph. Cottonwood Campground is a quiet, shady desert oasis located between the Castellan Historic District and Santa Elena Canyon. Elevation 2,169 feet. The 24-site campground has no hookups, but an outstanding view of the backside of Cerro Castellan. Pit toilets, picnic tables, grills, and water are available. No dump station and no generators are allowed. If you get the chance, I encourage you to come and stay a few nights at Cottonwood Campground. It looks like such a lovely place to be. And it's very close to many of the trails and ruins, and also close to Santa Elena Canyon. Here we get our first real view of Santa Elena Canyon. Isn't it just magnificent? We continue on to the trailhead for the Dorgan Sublet Trail, a 1-mile round-trip hike to the old Dorgan Sublet farmsteads. They are remnants of adobe farmhouses and were owned by James and Melissa Bell Sublet, settlers who first came to Castellone in 1913. Adobe is a mixture of clay, straw, and ashes. The bricks are molded and cured, and as a result, the adobe appears more like a manufactured construction material than any of the other building styles of this time. Sublet is recognized for introducing mechanized farming into the Big Bend area. In 1914, the Sublets moved into the Vino House in Castellone, cleared much of the land, and installed the area's first irrigation system supplied by a water wheel. Sublet hired Mexican laborers, to plant the new field's crops. By 1918, the growing farm business in place, Sublett purchased 2,560 acres in this area and called it Grand Canyon Farms. He built a large adobe house on top of a hill to the southeast, and a smaller house below, known today as La Casita. Be sure to follow the trail to see the other ruins. I didn't, and now regret not knowing they were there at all. While little remains of the Sublett's adobe house, their stone farmhouse in La Casita survived and have received historic preservation treatments. With Santa Elena Canyon being the backdrop for this homestead, I can see very well why he called it the Grand Canyon Farms. How can you help me to keep bringing you great creative content? There's a link for that in the description below.